Welcome to Dead to Cinema. I'm Brian Gillis.
And I'm Steven Maltmanex.
Like most people, we love going to the theater and catching the latest releases. However, sadly, put a big dent in your wallet.
Fortunately, living in the digital age makes the viewing possibilities endless from the comforts of home.
Many of these films that you can see right from your couch, we're ashamed to say we missed, despite labeling ourselves cinephiles.
So join us as one or both of us cross off a title from our list of shame.
It can be an all-time essential classic,
or an underrated piece of cinema that's worth giving a shot.
Hell, it might just be some trashy film we want the other's opinion on. So sit tight and join us as we pay off our debts, $1 at a time. So it was last week on 2 Cents where I kind of hinted at this episode.
Like, you found out that I hadn't seen it yet, and that was just a reaction of, oh, well, you have to see this, and I guess you couldn't think of a better pick, so that's it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd just seen Universal's original Wolfman movie from, what was that, 43, 41? And so I guess Werewolf was on the mind, and yeah, this came up in conversation. And yeah, it's like you said, I couldn't come up with anything better. That's a good zinger. You ever had zinger before?
It sounded like you just dropped your mic or something there, man.
Yeah. I opened up my wrapper. It's like a Hostess pastry. Imagine a Twinkie, but if it was coated in raspberry and coconut. That's this. It's a zinger.
Yeah.
Anyway, Teen Wolf. Makes sense. This pastry's probably from the 80s.
You gotta talk
Maybe
about
not this
pastries
one.
and other stuff instead of Teen Wolf, because really, what is there to talk about?
I'm with you. I mean, I think this movie, I don't know. This is probably the 5th time I've seen it. I saw it a lot. I just watched it on Encore. That's where I saw it primarily in high school. We've talked about this on the show before. Like, you know, the coming-of-age movie doesn't really exist like it used to. Like, not coming-of-age necessarily, but the teen movie. In the 80s, there was a lot of them. This is one of them. Teen Wolf, Back to the Future, Porky's, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Like, you couldn't name them all. 90s, same story. Mid-90s, late 90s, it doesn't matter. And then once, like, the turn of the century happened, they made a string of them for a couple of years. And then since then, it's kind of died, and no one makes the small-budget teen movie now. It's like, well, they'll go see a superhero flick.
Well, there's still,
and this is
they still do kind of exist. It's just, I guess they don't have outlandish concepts behind them like this. I have not seen it yet, but I imagine maybe Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse might be one of those. Tell me if I'm wrong.
No, that's right on base. It's like a supernatural coming-of-age movie.
Yeah.
Back to the Future is one of those. Goonies is one of those. Like, it happened a lot more then. But even still, like, on my best of the year list, I put 3 teen movies. I put Dope, Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, and Paper Towns. Those were, like, the only 3 of last year.
Well, don't forget Goosebumps.
No, I'm not counting that. That's a family
It's
adventure.
not a good one, but it kind of counts as that.
I call that a family
They are in
movie,
high
the
school,
same way
man. It kind of counts.
Not really. Like, that's a coming-of-age movie in the same way Jumanji
Okay,
is,
and this is not meant to appeal to families?
I don't think so.
I think I saw this playing on, like, HBO Family when I was a kid. Like, I didn't watch it, but I think it was
possible. Yeah, I guess we got to start here somewhere. Don't really know anyone involved here besides Michael J. Fox and me. I know the writer Jeff Loeb. I talked about him on 2 Cents last week. It was right after this he like became high in demand. He wrote Commando, which I found out was like written and then started production in April of '85, and then was put out in theaters by September. That's just insane. It was a record at the time for fastest turnaround from production to post.
That's insane.
And so it's insane, right? Especially then.
And that movie is still, it's pretty awesome. I mean, I don't know.
pretty
I wouldn't
good,
say
yeah.
like by any means good, but that movie is what it is, and people love it for it.
I think it's a fair critique of this movie too. I love it for what it is. I know it's not good, but there's just something about it. It's so zany. And now the name is like synonymous with MTV generation. I'm not sure how many people that love that show are even aware that this is the movie. Like they know, oh yeah, it's based on a movie from the 80s, but they have no clue what it is probably.
I've been told that the movie is not that bad.
You mean the
I'm
show?
sorry, yeah, the show.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, you've seen the movie. I hope you have your
No,
own.
yeah. Well, the movies. This is like the best bar their standard that was set for me. Is like I'd say about 5 years ago, I was just getting into like listening to more film podcasts, and one of the ones that I was trying to get into to see if they worked for me was Film School Rejects, and it wasn't one of the ones that I followed through with them. But I never forgot their scale for rating movies, and their scale is basically whether it's better or worse than Teen Wolf. Like the idea behind that being that Teen Wolf is the most average movie of all time.
That's fair.
Like it's got that good balance of both bad and good. Like the premise is so ridiculous. There's some writing, some scenes in here that are by no stretch of the imagination good, but there's some there is some good stuff here. There's some good just from the leads. Like Michael J. Fox has a good presence in it and carries it really well. You're never bored watching this. It's just it is what it is. That's really the best I can say about it. It's that movie that's like right in the middle between everything. I can agree with that scale. I don't know about you.
No, yeah, like I said, I grew up with this movie. It was one John Hughes flicks, weird science, stuff like that, or even Real Genius with Val Kilmer. There's 80s movies that I find more dear. But there's just something about this. Maybe it's because I like basketball. Maybe it's the fact that it's a Michael J. Fox movie, and there aren't that many of those. The fact that it was released in the summer of '85, right after Back to the Future, or because of the success of Back to the Future. Like this could have been on the shelf forever. Like there's.
Well, I would say that this definitely was successful, mostly probably because of Back to the Future. Like he was at that high point after that movie.
Yeah.
That was what, for 13 weeks it was number one.
Something like that. Like I mentioned this last week during our new show, 2 Cents. Back to the Future was released the 4th of July weekend, 1985. This came out August 23rd at the number 2 spot, behind Back to the Future. So it was like 6 weeks later, and then, Back to the Future for like another 6 weeks after that was still number 1, I believe. Probably all the way until Oscar season. And like there's like weird trivia. Like in Italy, they redubbed his name to be Marty instead of Scott. And like some other stuff, like I think it's like Chile or something. The name of the movie was Boy from the Future. So they definitely use the success of Back to the Future to kind of catapult this into greater heights, and rightfully so. I think this is just, it's not more accessible. It's just, it doesn't need as many things going for it. You don't have to think. It's not Back to the Future where you got alternate timelines and fading pictures and these big set pieces. Like this is a pretty straightforward high school movie, like a straightforward basketball movie.
I don't know how I can't see it that way just as a basketball movie or as even a high school sports movie. I mean, I thought I kind of was let down. I mean, because that opening shot right after just the black titles
the
coming
worst
up.
title sequence ever.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. It's like there is an interesting mood being set up during that, and then you got that first shot, and you're just hearing the sound, and it's like it feels like there's something interesting being set there, but then you just realize, oh, it's just they're just slowing things down because they got no idea what the fuck they're doing. There's no real effect being achieved there. I mean, not only that, it's fucking weird. Just that whole opening. I mean, they're losing by a ridiculous amount, and yet you have like that Chariots of Fire-esque music playing as he's about to take that final shot at the game, as if he might win, but they're so far behind. Like, and here's a big thing.
71-15, I think.
Yeah, like as if we're supposed to root for him to make the fucking shot, even though they're gonna lose the game and be upset about it anyway. But
opening, closing images, bro.
Here's the weird thing: like when you get to the end, that's a championship game between another team that goes to the same fucking high school.
No, they don't.
I got that sense the whole time because I mean the girl was at the same school. So how does that work? Where was that guy?
That girl that is in the play that he fucks is dating Mick, who's the star of the Dragons basketball team, and they're like the crosstown rival.
Yeah, but they're hanging out at the same school. They were at the same dance.
You can do that. I brought a girl from Anaheim to one of my high school dances. It doesn't matter.
I don't know. They make it more difficult, but I mean, it seemed like every scene that was at school, like everything was set there to give me the sense that they were in the same place. Like, I mean, that was something that even Teen Wolf 2 kind of does the same thing, which I watched back to back with this. It was weird.
I'll never see that movie.
Well, you shouldn't. There's no reason to. But yeah, I just
I've seen Teen Witch. Okay, I'll skip Teen Wolf 2.
Okay.
Have you seen that movie?
No, but I know it's supposed to be similar.
It's basically this, except she's a witch. Except like no, it's the same thing. Except there's no basketball.
And
It's
then
the
the whole
same movie.
town
It's
just
so bizarre.
embraces her because she's a witch and all the
No,
shit that she
no,
can
no,
do. No?
no. It's the opposite of that.
Okay.
Like it has the same coming of age using supernatural powers as allegory for puberty to try to tell like a similar story that you've always known, just with a new like seance angle on it. But yeah, since there's no basketball, since there is no public image like that, it's kind of under wraps. But as the same, she pines for some boy that never noticed her or whatever, blah blah blah. The same kind of movie.
It's basically like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, right?
Except
Kind of.
I don't believe there's a talking cat in Teen
No.
Witch. Teen Witch is most memorable, or what is best known for, is this horrible sequence. Because you know, remember, this is like 1987 or something, 88, 89. And so it's Rap's like heyday or whatever. And she like makes her friend rap battle this obnoxious dude in the middle of the street. And it's like, what? Like, Donald Glover's referenced it, like he like in a Childish Gambino song, nonetheless. You definitely have to go check this out on YouTube, though. Just type in Teen Witch Rap. It's so good, it's bad, or maybe it's so bad it's good. It's classic cinema. Like you have to see this clip. It's so horrible.
No, I believe it. But yeah, it's funny. Just your the emphasis on the word teen there is what comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
Teen Wolf, like wolf.
Yeah.
Honestly, like by the time that you get to that transformation, why the fuck does he look like Roddy McDowall from Planet of the Apes?
I don't know.
That was my reaction. And then when the dad opens the door, I was like, oh shit, it's Dr. Zaius. Like, it looks like Planet of the Apes to me. I guess they throw on a beard and they're fucking wolves.
This is a super low budget movie. I think the budget was like 1 million or like 1.5 million.
Yeah.
Okay, like the whole budget is the wolf suit, and it's not a bad looking suit. Like I said, I just saw the Wolfman.
It's pretty lame though. Like
I just saw Universal's The Wolfman, and you know, Lon Chaney Jr. doesn't look any better in that than Scott does here. At least they're embracing it. At least it's weird. You know, he's wearing like, he has that whole like Saturday Night Fever moment at the dance, and some weird stuff like the surfing on top of cars. Like I said, like there's certain things of this movie where I think about them all the time, and probably the biggest one is Styles and his t-shirts.
Like I figured that's probably the one thing. Yeah, like if any character that stands out, that's the one that I'm sure that people love. Like not even back then, but just today.
Yeah,
like just that, you know, you see people like that today that still dress like that.
I think he's the, you know, every movie, or at least any good movie, has a character you want to be, and he's definitely it. Like people, you know, it'd be cool to have the wolf power, to be a werewolf or whatever, like, you know, be amazing at basketball. That would be really cool. But to be this like entrepreneur in high school and be selling clothes at basketball games, and it'd be like the head honcho at the party. Let's talk about that weird house party that happens where like he shows up with the keg. Like the whole first act is about getting this keg to the party, and they show up and there's like, yeah, if we don't use it, you can take it home. There's like 7 of them or something, which is just ridiculous. But then the party's kind of ridiculous too. It's like, I never went to a high school party like that.
No, I don't know
it was
if
the
anyone
80s.
did. Like at least not in Southern California.
I mean, I was at one once where the cops came and like everyone ran away from the place and like jumped over fences, and I was just in a bedroom like super high with someone playing Call of Duty. We didn't even know the cops came at all. I guess we were lucky.
Like there was similar stuff like that maybe one time, but I was in college by the time that happened. There were high school kids though that showed up to a college party. So
I went to a couple college parties with like 150 plus people. But I'm saying like in high school though, you know, it's different. Like the fact that getting the keg was like that whole, you know, save the cat moment in the beginning. Like, I don't have my powers yet, but I got the keg, and you're like, oh, something's up. You got red eyes. But yeah, I don't know. This movie's, it's real heartwarming and feel good, but then it's like super zany and weird. Like the fucking coach, he's like the opposite of the stereotypical high school coach. Like this isn't Hoosiers, you know. Like
he just doesn't give a shit whatsoever. Like you know, he's like, oh yeah, I can help, you know, but the IRS is on my ass, so don't bother me right now. Like,
is this about girls? Is this about drugs? You got something? You want a leg? Mikasa Suka, and he kicks him out of the office. Like, it's so, I don't know. I think the humor in this movie is just so irreverent that I liked it then. I like it a little less now.
You know, how do you feel about the montages though?
They're 80s.
Like, I still can't get over the fact that when he's just walking down the hallway, just like
He
showing
starts
off, yeah, he
breakdancing.
just starts breakdancing. Like, where the fuck did that come from? It was like, holy
He's
shit! Like, and people are
he's a
just cheering
wolf
that shit
man.
on. Yeah,
Or I don't know. Like I caught it on this watch, maybe because I was looking, but you can definitely tell, especially in the basketball sequences, who the actual pro is, and when Michael J. Fox comes into
yeah.
play.
No, because Michael J. Fox is pretty short.
Yeah, like you don't realize how short he is until you're watching this movie because the camera doesn't help him out. Like he's probably like 5'6" or something. Like the fact that he can jump and like straddle several players in the movie and his dad at the end too. You're like, wow, he's really small. He's 23 at this time too, which is really bizarre. There's some I don't know. There's really interesting things about this movie. You remember the Kanye West like stunner shades back in 2008? Like Style wears a pair in this movie, the yellow glasses.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Kanye West made those come back when his graduation album was big. Like Stronger was him just wearing those in a music video. And so I saw this film either around right around that time, I believe. And so I was like, I know where those are from. Just fun stuff. But there's some weird things in this movie. Like we were talking about Back to the Future and the connections there. Apparently, like this was filmed in South Pasadena too. Apparently, Scott's house in this film is one and the same as Lorraine Baines' house in 1955 from Back to the Future. How's that even happen?
I have to look back for that then.
Yeah, I don't think it's one of the like. Who knows if it just means the exterior? I doubt the interior is the same.
Despite the fact that that was in the 50s, yeah, I think I can see it. There's that. I mean, you agree with me or?
Well, I mean, I got the notes here. The neighborhood definitely looks the same. Like you can tell it's Southern California.
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely Pasadena, and it makes sense given that Universal City's right around the corner. Even though this is technically it's a Paramount film, and now it's MGM. It just made sense at the time. 'Cause you remember, like Michael J. Fox was filming Family Ties, so he had to be close to the studio anyway. So yeah, maybe it's the same house. That's what IMDb trivia said. I want to believe it. It makes it better if it's true. Maybe when the legend becomes the story, print the legend type of thing.
Either way, I don't know. I mean, I'm not that passionate about this movie and I necessarily care about that, but that is kind of a cool little tidbit.
Kind of cool.
Now that
It's
I'm
like
thinking about
the same like when people say, "Oh yeah, the Ferris Bueller house is in Donnie Darko." It's like, yeah, it's pretty cool. Or it's like
Yeah.
it's like, oh wow, oh my god, I love both those movies. Now they're connected. It's a shared universe from the 80s.
Chicago and Virginia are in the same
Was it Virginia
place.
and Donnie Darko?
I don't know if it was like New Jersey. It definitely wasn't set in California. I think it was Virginia. I can't remember though.
Yeah, I can't remember either. I don't know. I don't know exactly why I like this movie. Like I said,
Can we just talk? I mean, here's the thing. I do think that it's got good messages about embracing yourself and not bowing down to other people's expectations. And, the whole thing's a metaphor for puberty. Yeah, I mean, it's a good coming of age story. So the final basketball game.
Yeah.
What message is being sent here? Like,
None.
You got no talent. Like, this is seriously like the cheesiest thing that you joke about in 80s movies, but here it literally is. Hey guys, I think we can win this. We got no talent whatsoever, and we're going up against some big fucking bully that's been known until like this whole thing happened to be like the star player. But yeah, I'm sorry. What?
It's like I said, this was a very low budget. They wanted something. So this studio made Valley Girl. Have you seen that?
No.
With Nicolas Cage. It was like 82 or something. It's a Romeo and Juliet movie, except it's a girl from the Valley falling in love with someone from LA. And so that studio, which is this one, like Atlantic Publishing or whatever it was, a releasing corporation, they wanted something similar that could be put out fast that had a small budget. So they made this. And so in lieu of having some huge climax or something, they went, hey, why don't we just do a basketball scene? That's super easy. You just get some extras. They already got the wardrobe. The whole movie's already kind of about basketball anyway. It'll be like Hoosiers. It'll be good. That has to be what it was, Like, how do we make something that like gets someone on the edge of their seat? You're invested in these characters, and there's some kind of payoff. And they went for like the most stereotypical coming of age thing that they could do. And it's not that it's bad. I mean, the montage kind of works. Like, you're kind of rooting for him, but if you've seen Air Bud, you've seen this.
Oh yeah, I kind of accept. I think Airbud. There's a lot more drama going there. I mean, it's far more earned. Well, then again, here's the thing. I was a kid when I saw Airbud.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
I
we're talking
could
about dog
see,
versus werewolf here, so.
yeah, and I could see myself being far more invested in this maybe if I was a kid because oh hey, it's the guy from Back to the Future, and I like that movie.
Hmm.
So I mean, it could have been something on that level, but yeah, just do you want to know about the sequel?
I know it's bad. I know the concept. It's like, hey, Jason Bateman is Scott's cousin, and he goes to a school also in California. And guess what? He's also a werewolf. And guess what? He's also on the basketball team.
Okay,
Like
well,
that,
no,
correct me if I'm wrong.
It's not the basketball team. In fact, I do like this change better. It's boxing,
That's pretty cool.
which is pretty awesome just conceptually that a wolf is going to box some dude in the ring and it's considered a fair fight. But okay, here's the thing is that it is the same exact thing, beat for beat for beat. But
Even with the next door neighbor that's always loved him thing.
well, sort of. But I mean, like not. There is definitely that element there, that like romantic element there, but it's not a next door neighbor. What it is a classmate. But what happens is it's Jason Bateman, and he's going to college. And the guy that's driving him is Michael J. Fox's dad in this movie. And, he's just freaking out because he doesn't want to deal with this crap, which he just, the wolf thing, which he assumes just skipped his generation. But, of course, it comes back later. Yet, everybody from the first movie is expecting him to turn at any moment. And they're like, for instance, Styles is his roommate. Like, he comes back in the sequel, and he's not played by the same guy. He's played by some dude. Like, he looks like one of the guys from Saved by the Bell. But, yeah, he's his roommate, and he's just basically planning on him turning at any moment so that he could profit on it for his own game.
Yeah, already getting shirts and bumper stickers made.
Pretty much, yeah. He's just, like, sitting back going, like, yep, it'll happen, when Jason Bateman is just, planning on it. He doesn't want it to happen. He's being very Jason Bateman, like, the whole time, and just very... very frustrated. But and also there's Chubbs. Chubbs comes back in this movie. Coach Finstock also is back, and he's the boxing coach. And what happens is that
this sounds like the worst movie ever made.
Yeah, no. Here, get this. Jason Bateman is he's a science whiz, right? But he got into the school on a sports scholarship because Coach Finstock wanted this guy to get him because he's expecting him to wolf out at any moment in order to make the school into kind of a big deal, which is the reason he was hired. And
let me guess.
Yeah,
he's
sure
a
enough,
Teen
that's
Wolf
what happens.
Because he's a Teen Wolf too.
No, really?
I get it. TOOO, not
Exactly.
TWO.
Yeah, so it's the
cool.
same thing. Yeah, they're basically planning on it happening. And then sure enough, once it happens, he starts getting all cocky and he's enjoying himself and he's being a dick, and it's the same fucking arc and shit. Like, and even then, like, yeah, the boxing team fights on their own without using any wolf powers or anything, and they fucking win. It's fucking ridiculous. It's the
worst
same,
thing about
it's
this
the
movie.
Same thing.
Not only did it spawn that horrible sequel that you've just enlightened us on, but there was also a cartoon, like a Saturday morning cartoon. Clearly, there's this MTV show, which is a big hit and it's been on for like 5 years now, which I've seen like 3 episodes of. I couldn't get into just because it's not like this. It's not cheesy. Like, it is much more of like a True Blood type show, like very serious. But oh, look, there's werewolves and witches and weird shit involved. But they get so many things wrong in this movie that I kind of just accept it as some kind of weird 80s movie universe. For instance, Scott, Michael J. Fox, when he's on the team, every free throw he takes a jump shot. It's like, what? Like, it doesn't even make sense. It's like, is he so short and so bad at basketball that that's the only way he could actually make it on camera? I don't know. It's really bizarre. And so, I don't know. Like, the fact that his mother is never really, her backstory's gone. Like, maybe that ended up on the cutting room floor. Like, the closest you get to anything is, even despite his dad talking about, like, oh, the vice principal, like, pining for his mother and scaring him away and stuff. All you get is Mick going, oh yeah, I shot your mother because she was eating my chickens or whatever. But you never get an explanation why she's not there. You kind of gather, that she's dead. Something happened. But there could have been a great moment where he's like, Scott, you should really not abuse your powers because I did one night when I was fucking your mom and I bit her throat and she died. Or like something like that, like just over the top. Like
Yeah,
when
that's true.
he's
There is
making out
that
with
closet
Boof.
scene. Don't forget about
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
With Boof, she's like, ow, you're so aggressive. And then she walks away and, like, there's scars in her back. Her name is Boof.
Yeah, that's very, very 80s, man. Like, I
It's
mean,
not even.
I'm sort of with you. I mean, like, I think the rating scale from Film Score Rejects is perfect for this because it's a very average movie that I kind of nod in my head, but at the same time kind of enjoyed it. Like, it's Teen Wolf. There isn't really much to say. Like, there's really no internal logic to this whatsoever. I mean, basically the explanation of like how it changes is like, oh, so you can do that whenever you want. Well, sort of,
Yeah.
but then I also don't have control of it either. I mean, it just is what it is, and really it's kind of perfect timing for when this came out because you could not get away with this today. Like, the only way that you can watch it today is with that charm of it being set in 85. And I honestly, I got no intention of watching this again ever, but I've seen it now. Like, that's the best I could say for
Right?
it. And I mean, the rating scale is really the best thing that I got for this movie. Like, I understand why, and yeah, I can agree with that system. Like, that should be something that more people use more often. Like, that could be that'd be a good thing that if Letterboxd added that too. Is like, so is this better or worse than Teen Wolf?
Then again, how many, coming of age teen 80s movies have you seen? Are you that versed in them?
Well, give me some titles right now because I can't think of.
I mean, outside of, the obvious, like Ferris Bueller's Weird Science, Some Kind of Wonderful.
I mean, well, yeah, like you're bringing up John Hughes
Uncle
stuff,
Buck.
though. Yeah.
Yeah, besides the John Hughes stuff, like, have you seen anything? Or, like, Ski School, Private Schools, Porky's, any of those sequels to Porky's?
No, I've never seen Porky's now.
So you should do that. Chubbs is in that, and he basically plays the same character on a basketball team. Except the difference here is that Porky's has nothing to do with sports. It's just that's how the guys know one another. But that's like really that's like the original American Pie. I don't think there was a teen sex comedy before that. It's rated R. It takes place in like South Beach, Florida in the 50s. It's shot a certain way. Most of the sequels kind of suck. But the basic setup for Porky's is, you got these basketball, like, somewhat rich guys, and they're in high school, and they all want to get laid, except one of them actually has sex, like, all the time or whatever. But they have these hijinks, and it culminates with them going to this, like, basically a strip club out in the Everglades where this owner, Porky's, runs everything, and they, like, he makes fun of them and throws them out, and so the whole movie's about them, like, trying to find revenge. But there's, like, real iconic moments. This movie's kind of like Porky's meets the Wolfman. Okay, it's like a middle ground there. But then again, maybe it's because it's Jeff Loeb. I don't know if you remember from the other day. But now what he does is he's in charge of Marvel Entertainment's TV wing. He's known for writing comics like Batman: The Long Halloween, Dark Victory, Hush. He did Superman, Batman for a while, like 60 issues, lots of stuff. And so maybe it's because of that, and then Commando's kind of the same way. It's just this feels like it could have been a comic book. It still feels like it could be. Just the world making and the fact that this is kind of like an origin story, except he's not a hero. Well, I mean, I guess he kind of is the town hero. Like
I feel
their
like
lives
when
are
you
so
say,
boring.
When you say comic book, though, I feel like maybe that's what the MTV series like sort of brings to it. I don't know. I picture a slightly more serious tone towards it. Like,
oh no, that show's very serious.
yeah, just because I can't picture the cheese just going through for like a ton of issues. Maybe just like one short book, yeah, but a whole series of them. I don't know. Maybe that's just because that's what I'm accustomed to today.
Well, I mean, just because something's a comic book doesn't mean it has to be a series. There's a lot of one-shots. Like, I have several that are just, 3 or 6 issues,
Mm-hmm.
It has, like, this seems like something that was in the funny books. Like, it seems like this, I'm pretty sure there's a similar comic book from, like, the 1940s that has the same kind of angle, where it's like, oh, he's just a bad basketball player on his high school team. But wait, he's a werewolf, guys. We didn't see that coming. Like, it just has that kind of thing going for it. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's a lot of things in one. It's obviously supernatural, it's coming of age, it's basketball, it's a comedy, there's some romance there. It's never too heavy-handed. There's like you said, there's that real cool message about being yourself and accepting who you are and not trying to put on airs.
Which is in
And
both movies, might I add.
oh, well, yeah, of course,
Yeah.
it's the same script. But a lot of the reasons why I like Paper Towns, that message that I talked about when I reviewed that many months ago now, where it had the same thing about being looking for popularity and trying to find yourself in high school and what it means, and when you realize that hanging out with your nerdy friends and singing Pokemon and going on adventures is the same as being cool or even better. Like, this has a similar thing, and it's not handled great. It like, oh, I don't need my wolf powers to be in the play. I don't need my wolf powers to win the basketball game. It's very cliched, but I think there's enough fun there, and the fact that this came out the same summer as Back to the Future, the fact that you went to the box office and it was between those two for a couple of weekends, two Michael J. Fox sci-fi flicks, like, just cool history. This is the Also Ran. It's the one that gets not as much mention because it's clearly not as good, but there's something, I don't know, not magical, but
I think it's just mainly his presence too, which even for the sequel, like, I would say the same thing in the film's defense is, like, both Michael J. Fox and Jason Bateman play the type very well. I mean, Jason Bateman plays exactly who he's pretty much always played, but he's really good at it, especially when he's younger, and it fits really well.
It's like they're not.
I mean, I'll say this: I was more actually in defense of the sequel. I was more convinced of Jason Bateman's arc of him becoming a bit more of a douche than I was for Michael J. Fox. Like,
because Michael J. Fox is already kind of a douche because he's on a starter on the basketball team.
well, no, he was just way too nice of a guy, seemingly. Like, I never got the douchey vibe from him at all throughout the movie.
You mean when he's Teen Wolf?
Throughout the whole thing.
I don't know. Like, during those basketball scenes in particular, like, to come up and take the ball from your teammate and go for the score.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, but I just never got the sense that was him. Like, especially because, it's just some guy that's in a wolf costume. Like, I don't know. Even when he was in full makeup, all I saw was Planet of the Apes. So, yeah, my mind just could not accept that real well necessarily.
This isn't a great movie. I can't buy it for $1. It doesn't meet our scale. But I definitely recommend it. Like, if you love Back to the Future, if you love Michael J. Fox, like I said, there aren't that many films that he's in, especially not in his heyday. This isn't much worse than Doc Hollywood, or like The Secret to My Success. Have you seen any of his like later '80s stuff?
No. Like, I can't think of, like, okay, I've seen him in Scrubs. There was that movies. Disney movie Atlantis. I don't know if I've seen him in much of anything else. Like, I could look it up, but
live action, not voicing characters, or not including like Stuart Little here.
That too.
He's in a good, like I said, he's in Doc Hollywood. He's in Secret of My Success. He's in Bright Lights, Big City. Like in the mid to like mid '80s to mid '90s, he was in a good enough amount of stuff before his Parkinson's kicked in, and I think that this is one of his better ones. Like, it's not overly dramatic. It's not anything amazing. You're not going to walk away with something, but there is, like, you got to remember, this is for high school students. Like, it has the fun party angle. It has the cliche sports stuff. It has this puberty allegory. Has some fun supernatural things. Like, it's a good catch-all. It's like, I don't know what kind of movie I want to see, but this kind of ticked all the boxes. Like, it's a fun movie to not think about. It's just mindless entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't buy this for $1 either, and I'm just willing to bet that if you're listening to this podcast right now, I'm pretty sure that you've already seen this movie. Like,
maybe.
So, I'd say it's kind of worth seeing just for the sake of it's Teen Wolf. Just like for once in your life, you're just going to have to see it and get that done with,
It's not a forgettable movie. Like I said, like, at the very least, you're going to remember what Michael J. Fox looks like in wolf makeup. Like, that's something that if you've never seen a picture, like a still from this, you're probably curious about, You want to, like, I would hope you want to see Styles shirts and and surfing on top of vans to Beach Boy music. Like there's some cool concepts here. Like there is some fun stuff going on. It's just that it happens to be a low budget 80s movie, and that's
Yeah.
what you get. You get the cheesy montages, and you get these girls that are supposed to be the unattractive friend that are, way better than they should look. I think you owe it yourself, especially since you've seen the sequel to this, which I haven't, that you have to see Teen Witch now.
Okay. Only if you watch the sequel.
No.
Yeah, no, you're not gonna make me watch that.
I would have seen the sequel if I had lower self-esteem.
Why should I watch Teen Witch if you're not willing to watch the sequel, man?
Because I don't want to watch the same movie. Teen Witch is enough of its own thing. For one thing, it's a witch.
on.
It's a girl, okay? It's not the same thing. Like, I'll see it eventually. I'm just saying, you should see Teen Witch sometime soon. Like,
God.
I would love to hear you talk
Please
about it.
don't make that pick in a couple weeks from now.
No,
Just don't.
I
Just
wouldn't.
don't do
I
it.
wouldn't. No. I don't want to see that anytime soon. I've seen it once, and that was enough. Like, there's some bad stuff in there. Like, when you asked a second ago if it's like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, no. Like, even the made-for-TV, like pre-pilot movie is better than Teen Witch.
Fair enough.
Thanks for listening. We hope it's been a pleasure. If you like this show and you want to hear more of our wonderful voices on a weekly basis, check out 2 Cents. I'll recap what's happened in film, TV, and tech news.
We're also on the titular Dollar Review Show, a spoiler-free critique of new releases or anything we've discovered on our own, whether that be TV, music, etc.
You can find all of our content at dollarreviews.net. Follow us on Twitter or like us on Facebook at Dollar Reviews.
We're available on iTunes, YouTube, TuneIn, Stitcher, and constantly looking to expand to other platforms.
If you listen somewhere we're currently not available, you'd like to contribute some talking points, send a Death to Cinema request, or even if you just want to laugh at us, you can do so by reaching out to us on social media or send an email to brian@dollarreviews.net.
Or you can email me as well, steve@dollarreviews.net.
You can follow me personally on Twitter at Brian Gillis, that's BryonGillis, and now you know how to spell the email too, and also under the same name on the lovely site Letterboxd, which acts as my film diary, where I rate films I'm watching, write the occasional review, and even sometimes compile lists.
You can also find me on Twitter at S_MTX, and also follow my film diary at Letterboxd under the same name, where I log everything I watch, and sometimes write brief reviews.
That's it for this week. Until next time, keep the change.